From Cakeland, this is Emmy award-winning Cake News.
Good evening, everyone. It is election night. The polls are closed and the results continue to roll in. We are tracking tonight's biggest race.
We do, of course, have the latest results scrolling at the bottom of your screen. You can also go to cakelandvotes.com or download the Cake News app to track results on the go.
Now, we do have team coverage, of course, from across the state. Deb Ferris and Madeline Anderson are in Topeka with Pat Roberts and Sam Brownback camps. Lily Wu is in Overland Park with Greg Orman supporters.
Mike Ewan in Lawrence with the Paul Davis campaign. Chris Frank live in Wichita covering the sales tax question. And tonight's a big race, the race for Kansas governor. It appears Paul Davis is pulling ahead right now, 48%. Actually, they're tied 48% to 48%. It is a very close race. It looks like they're separated by about 1,000 votes, maybe a little more than 1,000 votes.
Obviously, this one coming down to the wire tonight.
That's right. Cake's Mike Ewan live in Lawrence with Paul Davis's campaign.
Yeah, guys, it has been a tight race, but Paul Davis has maintained a slight lead all night long, and that has this crowd, well, it's just electric here tonight. There must be 700 to 1,000 people here at this venue in Lawrence, and they're all excited about a possible upset of their candidate beating Governor Sam Brownback. Earlier this evening, we saw a lot of people here, Republicans and Democrats, and we saw former HHS Secretary Kathleen Sebelius, and here's what she had to say about why Paul Davis should be elected governor.
So Paul Davis is committed to having families who can make a good living, send their kids to a great public school, make sure that they can retire with something in the bank, and I think that's a very Kansas value. And
we talked to Paul Davis's running mate Jill Docking, the lieutenant governor candidate, and she says she's remaining very positive. She believes that Davis will win tonight and pull off the upset. Right now, a lot of the other people in this room feel the same way, but still a long way to go, still a very close race. We're going to stay with it here until we hear from the candidate and have more results for you. We're live in Lawrence at the Paul Davis for Governor Watch Party. Mike Ewan, Cake News.
All right, thank you, Mike. Cake's Madeline Anderson now continues our coverage of the governor's race. She is live in Topeka with the Sam Brownback campaign. Madeline.
Yeah, well, everyone predicted that tonight's race for governor would be incredibly close, and the results so far have shown just that. In the beginning of the night, Brownback was trailing his Democratic challenger Davis by about 1 or 2 percentage points, but just in the last hour, he has closed that gap and is now tied 48 to 48 in the governor's race. So, of course, right now, way too close to call, and that is why we have not seen Brownback here tonight at the Republican Party's watch party here in Topeka. But just a few minutes ago, Secretary of State Chris Kobach, who was reelected tonight, did take the stage. He said that we might actually set a record here for voter turnout in Kansas in a non-presidential year. But again, no sighting of Brownback yet tonight, in that race for governor has not yet been called. Reporting live in Topeka, Madeline Anderson, Cake News.
All right, Madeline, thank you very much. Of course, another big race, the race for the U.S. Senate here in Kansas. It was pretty close earlier in the evening, not so much anymore. Pat Roberts, 51% of the vote. Greg Orman now 45. It was much tighter early in the evening, not so much anymore.
In fact, some news outlets are already calling this race for Pat Roberts. We are not doing that yet.
Yes,
though.
Some of the networks have already called it for him, but we're holding off just a bit. All right, Cake's Deb Ferris is live in Topeka at the watch party for Pat Roberts. Deb?
Yeah, guys, we are here at the watch party, and as you mentioned, some of the networks are calling the Pat Roberts race. They are calling him as the victor, for another term as senator at the national level. And of course, when that happened, we heard a huge cheer here. He has not been seen here yet, but we are expecting him any minute to walk in and give his acceptance speech here at the podium behind me. Now, everybody thought this was going to be a very close race. A lot of people were saying he's been in the Senate way too long, his time is up, he's creeping up on 80 years old, but it looks as if the Republicans in this state came through for him and elected him back into the Senate for another term. Of course, everyone watching this race from around the country, because the Republicans are wanting to keep to take back over the Senate. Now, we talked to Susan Wagle just a few minutes ago. She's a state senator, and here's what she had to say about the race.
We don't have a lot of returns in. The returns they tend to be geographical. They're close to the courthouse in all these counties, and as you go out, sometimes they tend to get more Republicans. So I just don't think we can see any trends in the numbers yet.
And as I mentioned, Senator Pat Roberts expected here in just a couple of minutes. We'll keep you updated and bring you his speech live as soon as we can.
All right, Deb, thank you very much. And let's continue our team coverage with KAKE's Lily Wu. She is now live in Overland Park with Greg Orman's camp. Lily.
Well, we're here at the Overland Park Convention Center, where you can see supporters and family members of independent Greg Orman here at his official watch party. Now, we have not seen Orman this evening. We're told that he is with family members watching the results. Now, it was much more livelier earlier in the night when there were times that Orman was pulling ahead, but soon things became quieter as more results came in showing that he was actually behind. Now, we haven't seen, again, Orman here, but we did get a chance to speak with his father. This is what he had to say.
I know he's tired. I mean, you can't work as hard as he's worked over the last 6 months and not be tired, but he's remarkably resilient, and I'm sure he's hopeful too.
Now, Greg Orman's campaign folks have told us that when results are finally in, that's when we will expect to see Orman, and we're expecting him to speak right here behind us in that podium. We will continue updating the story, and we'll continue tracking it, and we're live here in Overland Park. Lily Wu, KAKE News.
All right, thank you, Lily. Now to our congressional races. In the race for Kansas's 1st District, Tim Huelskamp has defeated Democrat James Sherrod to retain his seat in Congress. Let's go to the 4th District now, and Mike Pompeo easily wins over the Democrat Perry Schuckman.
And in the District 2 race, Lynn Jenkins, once again the incumbent there with 56% of the vote. She is defeating her running mates there too. All right, now in the 3rd District race, Kevin Yoder taking this one. He has won this one. He's the Republican, defeating Kelly Katula.
All right, let's go to the race for Kansas Secretary of State, a race that a lot of people thought would be a little bit closer than this. It appears Chris Kobach is going to be reelected. He has 57% of the vote right now, and the challenger, Gene Shordorf, has 43%.
And in the Kansas Attorney General's race, incumbent Derek Schmidt having no problem here, 65% of the vote to A.J. Kodich's 35%. And in the race for state treasurer, it is Ron Estes. He's the incumbent, 66% of the vote to Carmen Aldritz, 34%. And in the race for Kansas Insurance Commissioner, it is Ken Selzer, 59% of the vote to Dennis Anderson's 41%.
Now, a big question on the ballot today, the Wichita sales tax question. That appears to be soundly defeated. The yeses have about 38%, the noes, a big 62%. KAKE's Chris Frank live in Old Town at the watch party for what's called the Coalition for Better Wichita. This is the group that opposes the sales tax. Chris?
Yes, Susan, we're at the watch party for the Coalition for a Better Wichita, the no vote, like you was just saying. We've been here ever since there were only 1 or 2% of the vote had been counted. Well, right from the get-go, from the first counts being posted, the noise level here has been pretty much the same, kind of subdued, quite frankly. Normally at watch parties, you'll hear loud cheers when the numbers are announced. Not so much here, and I'm told that it's because they pretty much anticipated a victory. They didn't let out a big cheer until the final until it was obvious that it was a slam dunk. On the other end of the vote, the yes Wichita watch party at the Hyatt Regency Hotel, maybe even a bit quieter, because there never was any narrowing of the vote. There was a big spread right from the start that simply got wider. So right now we hear from the leaders of both groups. First, Jennifer Basinger on the no sales tax vote, then John Rolfe with yes Wichita.
Well, it's exciting, first of all, to see that so many people participated and so many people voted. And to see that spread is certainly encouraging, but I said it before and I'll say it again, until that last vote is counted, I'm watching with eager anticipation.
The city identified the problems, they created some plans, they'll execute, I would imagine, a lot of those plans. And then we got other problems to solve. And after tonight, there's not yeses and nos anymore. We're all Wichitans again, and we got to continue to solve problems and create a bright future for this community.
Yeah, John Rolfe there says after tonight there are no yes and no votes or groups. We're all Wichitans with problems to solve to make this a better community. Basinger telling us this crowd, their victory is not the end. Their victory is not the end of the Coalition for a Better Wichita. They want to keep the Coalition for a Better Wichita around to speak out on other local issues. So we'll be hearing from them. But a big victory for the no sales tax vote, no sales tax right here in Wichita. We're live in downtown Wichita. Chris Frank, KAKE News.
All right, Chris, thanks. Meanwhile, lots of other towns also with sales tax questions on the ballot. Let's go to Valley Center. Once again, no wins there, 56% to 44%. Over in Bel Air, very similar question, and we'll pull that up here in just a second. There it is right there. Once again, no, 56%. Yes, 44%. And one more. Let's go over to Andover, see what they're doing over there. Again, it is the no's. We've got a trend here, folks. It is the no's, 53% to 47%.
There was also a statewide question regarding the legalization of charity gaming or raffles in the state. This is when you go to a charity event and you participate in a raffle. I'm sure a lot of us have. Well, should we legalize that, even though a lot of people have been doing it for quite some time?
That's right.
The yes votes overwhelmingly 74% to 26%. So that amendment passes.
And nobody's surprised about that.
No. Problems were haunting the Sedgwick County Election Office once again tonight.
It sure did. The county's computer server crashed earlier this evening, delaying some results. KAKE's Annette Lawless now live outside the election office with an update. Annette.
That's right, guys. The server was down just a few hours ago, but things have since then been up and running out here at the Sedgwick County Election Office. They say now, as of this past half hour, all precincts are in, and so they are tallying everyone's votes to bring us updates on everything with the election. They say other than that, everything's been smooth, and Commissioner Tabitha Lehman says that they're ready to handle anything else for the night. Reporting live in downtown Wichita, Annette Lawless, KAKE News.
All right, thank you very much, Annette. The latest election results still at the bottom of your screen. You can also track them on your phone by downloading the KAKE News app. See the races that matter to you. By the way, as you know, the latest results also at kakelandvotes.com. Our coverage on KAKE TV continues after the break.